Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the March 23rd, 2016 edition of the Midweek Update here on Rasslin with Redbeard. Do you have a moment to talk about our conquering hero, Roman Reigns? No, why are you leaving? No, don't turn the channel. No, don't. Number 5 story of the week is that the WrestleMania 32 card may not be all that interesting to most people. This is a story that has been followed by a couple of different media outlets, and it's in regard to some of the advanced stuff that comes in the form of ticket buy rates, interest in the network, things along those lines. And it just seems as though there's some general apathy being expressed by the fan base right now in regard to WrestleMania 32. And I can't say as I blame most people for it, because really and truly this is the first occasion in a couple of years, actually a lot of years, to where the card has really just been devastated by injuries and by creative decisions that have kind of gone by the wayside and led to what we have. This is certainly a WrestleMania that's been cobbled together by piecemeal. I still think there are some interesting matches on this card. For sure, the Hell in a Cell match between Shane McMahon and The Undertaker will be very interesting to see what happens there. Triple H may be able to pull a great match out of Roman Reigns the way he did with Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler here recently, but I still think that regardless of what happens with that match, you're going to have a Roman Reigns that is just completely devastated in terms of the crowd's lack of willingness to accept him as the hero. And then, of course, you have other stuff that's kind of happening on the card with the Intercontinental title ladder match. Ryback and Kalisto for the U.S. title seems like a completely absurd thing to me. And it just kind of is what it is at this point in time. You've got a lack of star power on this show. Cena, Orton, Seth Rollins, so many other people aren't going to be on there. But guess what? Zack Ryder, now by virtue of Neville having been injured, finds himself for the spot on WrestleMania 32's card. So it is what it is, folks. We're less than 2 weeks away here, so we could see anything happen between here and there as far as someone else being injured possibly that might further change the card. But it is what it is at this point in time. Number 4 story of the week is that Evolve Wrestling will host the qualifying matches for the WWE Cruiserweight Series. This is an announcement that was made by William Regal here about a week or so ago at a Evolve event. I think it was up in the Northeast, but it's an amazing thing and an amazing time to be associated with any type of independent promotion right now, period. We've said that here for a number of weeks, but when you've got a promotion like Evolve that now has the relationship that they do with WWE, it's really amazing to see the two of these companies come together for the betterment of a division that has been really, I hate to say this, but they've really been ignored here for the better part of 10 years, especially in relation to WWE's product, It's going to be great because of the fact that you've got cruiserweights from all over the world, juniors, whatever you want to refer to them as, who will now have an opportunity to compete and to be seen in front of a vast audience via the WWE Network. And it's awesome that it's going to be including Evolve, because of the fact there are a number of guys from this area who have gotten opportunities with Evolve, and that there is a good chance that even more will. I want to bring up one name in particular, that being Cedric Alexander's. It's no real secret to any of us who follow his social media pages that he here recently has been trying to cut weight, and he's been down, I think, about 16 pounds. He's almost around 200, and that, of course, is the magic number for a cruiserweight. It's a little bit weird seeing him cut weight. He doesn't look bad by any stretch of the imagination, but the fact that he's doing it at this point in time kind of makes you wonder, is he one of the ones who could be involved in this series? Because his name did pop up as an individual who had participated in some tryouts for WWE there not too long ago. So it'll be really interesting to see if he gets in there, and a number of other names from this part of the world as well. Corey Hollis, you never know, John Schuyler could be in there. A whole bunch of people would conceivably qualify for being a participant in that series, but there's a lot of talent from the U.S. period that could be involved with that. So we'll have to wait and see what the actual lineup is. It's apparently going to be a field consisting of 32 individuals once it's narrowed down by these qualifying matches. And the qualifiers are evidently going to take place all over the world. So this is going to be a big thing, and it's coming to us soon on the WWE Network. Number 3 story of the week is that Bobby Roode and Eric Young have left TNA Wrestling. This really came as a shocker to a lot of people because they were 2 of the originals from TNA's roster. They're probably one of the, go ahead and say, probably the only 2 guys who have been around since the start. They, of course, came up together with the Team Canada faction that was a big part of TNA's beginnings. You had them, of course, and other individuals, including people that have gone on to be successful in other promotions and other aspects of the business as well. But to have both of them up and say, okay, we're done, we want out of our contracts with this company that's apparently the number 2 in the world, it's an amazing thing, and it's really telling. But perhaps even more so than that with the statements that they both made. TNA came out with a statement of their own basically saying, we support these guys in their future, it's all good, yada yada yada, what you typically expect to see out of a company trying to save face with 2 guys who really and truly could have done a lot for them. But then the statements that they made, I have some quotes here. Bobby Roode made this statement that basically implied that the product had become stale. And then Eric Young went on to make a comment along the lines of, things don't end because they're good. Wow. That there could be inferred a number of different ways, but it really and truly does tell you something when you've got 2 of your top guys leaving to basically be unemployed. When your options are to get paid to do whatever they tell you or take your chances, and they took their chances. So, of course, there's mass speculation now as to what they'll be doing next. It could be Global Force Wrestling, could be WWE, could be Mexico, could be Japan, could be half a dozen different things, but we'll have to wait and see where they wind up. Regardless, they're 2 top free agents, and we'll have to definitely pay attention to where they land in the future, because they will be valuable wherever they go. Number 2 story of the week is that Hulk Hogan has won his defamation suit against Gawker Media. This is an amazing thing here, folks. $115 million. $115 million for a 6 tape. Yeah. Now, granted, $115 million is not a whole lot to Hulk Hogan. If you look at some of his old WCW contracts, there were a few occasions where he made that much for a single appearance at some of their pay-per-views. But be that as it may, the fact that he has been awarded this amount of money is going to be devastating to Gawker Media. I'm not trying to champion them by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the fact that they essentially will be liquidating if this does not get changed by any sort of appeals process. Of course, the fact of the matter is that $115 million is only the compensatory damages. The fact of the matter is that there's $125 million on the table for punitive damages that were also awarded to Hulk Hogan. So altogether, you're talking about, in the area of $140 million. And I believe I read somewhere that Gawker Media claims that their assets are really only worth about $85 million combined. So if this plans out the way it is, Gawker will essentially be forced to go out of business. But it's a big thing for precedent as far as the acquisition of media and content these days. It goes a long way into saying, okay, well, just because someone has a piece of material doesn't mean they have the right to do whatever they want to with it. Especially when it's something like this that was a very intimate thing that was not intended, I don't think, to ever really be published anywhere. But still, it's a crazy, crazy end to this saga. I say end, this is one of the final chapters for sure, but still just an amazing thing to see it wind up this way, to where, once again, Hulk Hogan drops the leg on somebody and gets that 3 count. So we'll have to see what the appeals process does. For Gawker Media, they have promised to go ahead and fight these decisions, but I strongly doubt there'll be much in the way of contention to reverse anything, because it's pretty bad for them at this point in time. And the number 1 story of the week is, will Sting retire after WrestleMania? Question mark. Yeah, have to put that question mark in there. About a week ago, there were some stories that started to pop up saying that Sting was essentially out of action, that he would no longer be able to wrestle. His neck is just too jacked up thanks to that buckle bomb that Seth Rollins gave him last year. And that would have been completely understandable. But it's come to light here from Sting himself, who has come out and said, I'm not actually retired yet. And it's become something of a war of words. Maybe that's too strong of a term to put out there. But the the fact remains that even though there was some initial thought that he might be retired, that there's going to be a official retirement type situation or scenario to where he's able to come out, have his moment, do the whole 9 yards, where he comes out and basically says, okay, I'm done. Which that's perfectly understandable. That's what you would expect of a legend like him, because he deserves it for sure. The timing of it will be the thing that I think a lot of people are interested in finding out as to whether or not this is a announcement that coincides with his induction into the Hall of Fame. It would make perfect sense there, because, what better way to hang up the boots than to say, okay, I've got my Hall of Fame ring, I'm done. I'm going to go sign autographs for the rest of my life and make a lot of money on doing that. It'll be great for him. He's definitely earned it. I hate for his career to have gotten cut short. People will say, he's 56 years old, we don't want to see him in the ring anymore, but guess what? I was at a show a couple of weeks ago, as you guys very well know, where the Rock and Roll Express took on the Warlord and Barbarian in a steel cage, and it was a very entertaining match. So don't tell me that just because someone has some age doesn't mean that they can't still go. And it does put the kibosh on the potential for anything like a Undertaker-Sting matchup, which here again people will say that would have been good 10 years ago, but not so much now. Still would have been fun to see. That's just one of those dream scenarios where you can only probably now find it in a video game. But regardless, we'll have to wait and see what Sting's final decision is there and what his progression of his career will be at this point in time. Something we do not have to wait for, though, are the events that are coming up this weekend and the knowledge that I'm about to share with those for you. Ha! That is what I am, the spreader of knowledge, at least as it concerns independent wrestling in the South Carolina, North Carolina region anyway. A little bit of Georgia, too. We're getting better at Georgia. But regardless, I want to go ahead and share these posters with you for the events that are coming up this weekend. We believe they're in the area of 11 this weekend, maybe a little bit more, but these are the ones that we could find. So let's go ahead and roll those posters. I'll be back in a few moments to finish up the show. There you have it, our rundown of the events that are happening in this part of the world this weekend. If you're a promoter, a wrestler, or someone who's in some way involved with a wrestling promotion and you didn't see your poster in that part of the show, it's because we didn't know about it. We do our best to peruse social media to keep abreast of what's happening in this part of the world, but we do miss things. That said, if you would be so gracious as to send us your materials, either here on YouTube, email, the Facebook page, Twitter, all of our contact information is out there for you to send us your posters and other information about your promotion. Be glad to put it out here on the show, on the Facebook page, and wherever else we can. It's a big part of what we do here on Wrestling with Redbeard is to try and keep people informed about what's happening in this part of the world. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoy the program, please go ahead and click that like button. If you really enjoy what you're seeing here on the Wrestling with Redbeard YouTube channel, go ahead and click subscribe. That way you'll be the first to know whenever we've uploaded something new, like a midweek update, match videos, or the all-important Wrestling with Redbeard main show. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week.